Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome again to a very short reading. Actually, this should have been done yesterday, but I thought it was not necessary, but now I feel that it should be done. It is the appendix at the end of the Canto 1, from Brilliant as the Sun, a retelling of Srimad Bhagavatam, which we finished yesterday, the Sages of Naimisharanya. So in this appendix, at the end of this book, the chapter structure is given. All the 19 chapters and the content of each chapter, plus the conversations going between the personalities, they have been told. So it's very useful. So I will read this for all of you. Chapters 1 to 3, they are actually, I will read the chapter names as well, just quickly. The chapters 1 to 3 are questions by the sages attaining divinity and divine incarnations. In these chapters, the content is setting the scene and Sutta and Shaunak. They are the two main personalities involved in this chapter. Now, chapter 4. Chapter 4 is Vyasadeva's confusion, and the content in this chapter is about Vyasadeva's vision. It is told by Sutta to Shaunak. Chapter 5 is instructions by the great sage Narada. The content in this chapter is conversation between Vyasadeva and Narada, and this is told by Sutta to Shaunak. Then there is Narada's history, which is told by Narada to Vyasadeva, and then Sutta to Shaunak. Chapter 6 is about Narada's previous life. The content is Narada's history continued. It is told by Vyas to Narada, and then by Sutta to Shaunak. Also, the content contains conversation between Narada and Vyasadeva, told by Sutta to Shaunak. And furthermore, there is also some content about Sutta and Shaunak. Chapter 7, which was the Pandavas and Krishna, the content is Sutta and Shaunak. Then there is Vyasadeva's epiphany about the Srimad Bhagavatam, which was told by Sutta to Shaunak. Then there is content about Sutta and Shaunak, and also content about history of Pandavas after the Great War. It is told by Sutta to Shaunak. Chapter 8 is Krishna saves his devotees, and the content was history of Pandavas continued, which includes Kunti's prayers and Yudhisthira's lament, which was told by Sutta to Shaunak. And there's also content about Sutta and Shaunak. Chapter 9 was Bhishma departs. The content was the Pandavas and Krishna visits Bhishma on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which was told by Sutta to Shaunak. Chapter 10 was Krishna returns home. The content was Sutta and Shaunak. History of Krishna's departure from Hastinapur. It was told by Sutta to Shaunak. Chapter 11 was the glories of Dwarka, and the content contained Krishna's arrival in Dwarka, which was told by Sutta to Shaunak, and also the content had Sutta and Shaunak as well. Chapter 12 was Parikshit born, and the content was Sutta and Shaunak. Krishna saves Parikshit in the womb, which was told by Sutta to Shaunak, and of course Sutta and Shaunak were also there in the content. Chapter 13 was about Vidura instructs the blind king, and the content had Vidura returns to the Hastinapur and convinces Dhritarashtra to retire. It was told by Sutta to Shaunak. And also the content contained in this chapter, chapter 13, Narada consoles Yudhisthira. which was told by Sutta to Shaunak. Chapter 14 was ominous portents, and the content was Arjun returns from Dwarka. It was told by Sutta to Shaunak. Chapter 15 was the Pandavas depart, and the content was all about Arjuna tells his brothers about the departure of the Yadus and Krishna, and also the content had Sutta and Shaunak, and this was told by Sutta to Shaunak. Chapter 16 was Parikshit becomes king. The content had Sutta and Shaunak, and also the history of Parikshit's tour of his empire, including the conversation between Dharma and Bhumi. It was told by Sutta to Shaunak. Chapter 17 of Canto 1 had Parikshit arrests Kali. The content had history of Parikshit's encounter with Kali. It includes a conversation between Parikshit and Dharma, and it was told by Sutta to Shaunak. Chapter 18 was Parikshit cursed. It had Sutta and Shaunak. Also, Parikshit is cursed to die in 7 days. It was told by Sutta to Shaunak. And lastly, chapter 19 of Canto 1, Shukadev Goswami appears. Chapter 18, as I told, it was Parikshit cursed. And now chapter 19 was Shukadev Goswami appears. The content had Parikshit renounces his kingdom and meets his spiritual master, and also about Shukadev. And it was told by Sutta to Shaunak. So thank you again for joining, and wish again all of you happy Makar Sankranti, happy Ganga Sagar Mela, and happy Pongal to those who are observing. Hare Tat Sat, Hare Krishna.